Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
It's time for the Sports Blitz, the only live-streamed local sports show in Arkansas, with all the latest on the sports stories that matter to you. Live from the Lions Den Golf Club studio, here are your hosts, Mark Freeman and Weldon Braxton.
Welcome into the Sports Blitz after a week hiatus to mourn the loss of Weldon Braxton to Minnesota in his big-time college football coaching gig. I've heard in the first couple weeks he's already coached his offensive line. He's got the running backs. He's had the quarterbacks. He's just going to have his thumbprint all over that football team. And we miss him, but we are joined here inside the RiverValleyLeader.com studios, Mark Freeman and Maddie Lassiter with Mr. Brad Caldwell. We're kind of going full circle because this is where it all began at Arkansas Tech University. Me and Brad hosting the Sports Blitz, and we're glad to have him along, filling in while he can. We're both going through a little transitionary period. Bradley, it's good to have you here.
It's good to be here, man. I never thought that I'd be back with the Sports Blitz.
He was hoping he was on to bigger and better things. Don't let him lie to you.
Well, I did some radio in Northwest Arkansas for a little bit and owned a business and have just kind of done a little bit of everything, and here I am back filling in for a little bit. Going to be in Russellville for a little bit of time, trying to help my dad recover from heart surgery. He's doing well, though, so everything's good, and so we're going to have a little fun.
Yeah, Brad's going to take a little bit of a break and take his mind off the crazy stuff happening. We're going to talk some sports for an hour, and there is plenty to talk about. For those of you that were worried through the summer months that we didn't have anything to talk about, well, football season is now upon us. We've got lots of preseason football to look at, and we can preview the actual season itself. I hope you haven't fantasy drafted already. If you've got a fantasy football draft that's gone on, especially those of you who drafted guys like Jamal Charles, you were waiting with bated breath this morning as Jamal Charles was carted off the field. Apparent foot injury. They were worried and feared that it was broken, but apparently the x-rays have come back negative, and it's now a foot strain, but he was carted off the field. And anytime you're carted off the field, now, not let alone the fact that he was carted off the field for a foot strain, but anytime you're carted off the field, you're holding your breath.
Well, back in the 70s, they used to make guys that were dead on the field walk off the field. So now we've got foot strains and all that. We're carting these guys off the field. I think game has changed a little bit since the 70s.
Yeah, these contracts have changed things quite a bit. But we're about ready to do some fantasy football ourselves. We might even, I don't know, we may be able to get a little pick-em together for the NFL. We're looking to do a pick-em for the Sports Blitz. We've done one a couple years ago. If we can get a good prize, we'll make it worth your while. Looking to give away some stuff this fall semester, both high school tickets. Talked to Russellville High School. Coach Johnny Johnson, the athletic director, is going to give us some cool stuff to give away, some tickets to football games and things like that. Pottsville Apaches are going to give us football tickets. That's going to be a hot ticket as well, and you're going to be able to go for free if you'll just listen to the Sports Blitz, watch the Sports Blitz, answer the trivia questions, do what it is that we ask you to do. You're going to be having a chance to win tickets. But if you're not from Russellville, you're not from Pottsville, we've got some Dardanelle tickets coming. We've also got some Clarksville Panther tickets. So you've got the ability to, wherever you're from, wherever you're around this area, if you want to watch your team play, if you just listen to the Sports Blitz and you answer a trivia question, I think that's probably how we'll do it. We'll just let you pick whichever one you want to go see. If you're a Clarksville Panther fan, but Clarksville's on the road and you want to come see Russellville, and you can watch Jalen Curtis and Cochise Temple Laws and Cody Jones and those guys play, then you can win those tickets and you can pick those. If you wanted to go see the Pottsville Apaches and Michael Perry play, you could win those tickets, and you get to pick once a week out of the hat. If you're able to win the trivia contest, I think that's going to be a good deal.
Yeah, not bad. I mean, if you haven't got anything to do on a Friday night, what better way to spend a Friday night going watch high school football?
Definitely. Well, we'll give those tickets away. We'll also hopefully give away some Razorback tickets. We did a couple times last year, and it was always a really fun competition. Every time we did that, we'd have the phone lines flooded or the text line flooded, and it was a good time, and we hope to do that same thing again this year. Maybe we'll be able to give away even cooler stuff this year, but we're looking forward to that. There's not a whole lot going on right now locally as far as news and updates. There are two-a-days that are about to kick off.
They're sweating their butts off. Yeah. That's what's going on right now.
School starts on Monday. day. So a lot of these kids are really getting into the coaches are getting into two-a-days and really heavy practice. I got to watch Russellville practice last week, and Coach, you could tell Coach Holt wasn't the hunky-dory happy. You know, I'm not saying he was mad or anything, but he wasn't the whole, okay, well, let's just have good. No, he was down to business. It's time to get ready.
Yeah, and it is time. And, this is America's favorite sport now. It's not
No doubt.
baseball anymore. It's football, and it's football season. I've got the NFL Sunday ticket this year again.
How'd you do that?
I just went and got it.
Did you pay for it?
Yeah, I paid for
okay.
it.
I was going to say.
But, hey, look, you can call DirecTV. They'll give you a good deal. I'm telling you. Hey, DirecTV, you need to sponsor the sports.
Seriously,
Blitz,
Direct. We're here in the live in the DirecTV studio.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I'm excited. I've always looked forward to football season. Always sad to see it go. Basketball, it takes up time till football season.
Man, I love basketball too. I can't even lie.
I do like basketball. I really do. But as the years have gone on, I have liked football more and more and more. And basketball is just kind of taking a back seat a little bit. And baseball is just like, whatever. If baseball would play like a month,
1 month.
or like 2 months, but they play 7,000 games.
Yeah.
And it just breaks you. And then you got this A-Rod stuff that just in this. How long are we gonna have to hear about steroids and PEDs and all this junk? You don't even talk about baseball anymore when you talk about baseball. You talk about steroids.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Well, I'm not a big baseball fan, and that's part of why. I remember watching Ken Griffey Jr. and those guys, and then I'm not going to lie to you, I didn't like baseball a whole lot, but when I saw the home run race in '98 between Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire, it did captivate my attention, and that was all about steroids. So, I mean, these guys were on performance-enhancing drugs. My opinion's not really all that popular. I don't like the performance enhancing drugs, but golly, I like a home run. So
Sure.
I mean, if they're gonna juice, might as well let them all expand their heads by 12 sizes and go Barry Bonds on it.
They could look like professional wrestlers out there
Seriously.
playing baseball.
Look like Scott Steiner out there.
That's what Barry Bonds did look like.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of why I'm not a big baseball fan. But anyway, the seasons are entirely too long. But football season, it's just enough. You got 11, 12 games in the regular season in the college football, 16 games plus a little playoff there in the NFL. And heck, I'm enjoying the preseason football, watching the Cowboys on the Hall of Fame game, and then the other night playing again. I'm just looking forward to some NFL as well. You can go buy yourself a Sunday ticket. I want to get the Red Zone. Here we are advertising for them. Forget that. DirecTV, call us up. We'll get this hooked up. But I'm looking forward to football season. We're going to try to get a pick 'em together. We've done this before, the Sports Blitz Armchair Quarterback, and we're going to try to do our best to get a nice prize and get the pick 'em going. We'll let you know about the information to enter that. It'll all be at rivervalleyleader.com or facebook.com/RVL News. Please like our Facebook page, facebook.com/sportsblitz. We'd love to have you involved with us every show. We have a poll question that we ask every day, and that may be your way of getting in. And when we give things away, we may give something away to the take we feel is the best. We may vote here in the office, or we may give a trivia question or do some other way of giving things away. But we want you guys to be involved. We want you to have your voice heard. You can email Mark at rivervalleyleader.com with any pictures, story ideas, information. We get them all the time, and we appreciate you guys doing that. If we're not covering your school like you think they ought to be covered, you can just call your athletic director and tell him to send me information. That's what Russellville and Pottsville and Clarksville do. They do a good enough job of it that we don't get a whole lot of complaints, but there are some others that they don't feel like their schools are adequately represented. It's just me in the sports office. So if you email Mark at rivervalleyleader.com, I will definitely get your information out there for you, but I can't be everywhere at once. So I'm looking forward to high school football, Brad. There's going to be some good teams in the area. I know Pottsville's looking to contend again. Russellville, I'm looking for a bounce-back season from them, although last year, they've been steadily working their way up. This year, they want to make a run in the 6A.
And they should. 6A football is not quite as good as 7A football, and that's why they have the classifications. Although when you look at the basketball situation, 6A basketball seems to be a little better than 7A basketball when it comes to that, and that just comes down to what teams are in it. But yeah, Russellville made a good leap last year from a disastrous season 2 years ago. So I look for Russellville to do good. Of course, we've got Pottsville in this area. Coach Rust, I've known him for a long time, and that guy knows how to coach football.
Oh, yeah.
And he has built that Pottsville program. basically from the ground up. I think he's the second ever head coach there at Pottsville, and they have done a marvelous job there. And of course, when you get guys like Michael Perry through there, that doesn't hurt anything at all. Also, the Hector Wildcats picked to win their conference this year by Hootens. So that's another team. Now, Hector has got some history. They made the state finals in 1999, and they were a semifinalist in 2000, had two very, very good football teams. Of course, that was at the strength of the Shiloh dynasty at that time, and they ran into Shiloh in the state finals and didn't have much of a prayer there. And they were going to again, but there was a man named Griffin Goler that for Carlisle that broke an 87-yard touchdown, and they lost 7-3 in that game at home. But anyway, they have seen their down years for sure, but they have history, and it looks like that they are on the right track as well. So there is some good stuff going on in the River Valley.
I'm looking forward to following the recruitment of a couple of local athletes. I say a couple. There's a bunch of them. We need to give a huge congratulations while we're thinking about it to Andrea Kendrick, Russellville Lady Cyclone softball star. She was the MVP for the 6A state softball champions this year. She is going to play softball for the University of Alabama. That's not anything to, it's nothing to sneeze at, as they just won the national championship, and she's their big target. I mean, she was the number one player on their board, the number one get. Not to really downgrade the University of Arkansas, but I've heard some disparaging things about how the recruitment went there and the fact that she wanted to go to Alabama, which she's wanted to go to Alabama since she knew they were pretty good the last few years. It's a big get for them, and it is a huge honor for her to get that opportunity. She could go on a full ride academic scholarship, but she's going to get a chance to play softball as well, and that is a huge deal. Congratulations to Andrea Kendrick.
Well, that's the equivalent of a football player in this area getting recruited by Alabama as well.
It really is.
So that is big time for sure.
Do you remember when you used to keep the umpires over here at Hickey, and she would be over there with her dad throwing pitches while the pitching machine games were going on?
Yep.
I remember thinking there were gunshots going off when she was pitching. She's in like 6th, 7th grade. Pop. She can throw. So big congratulations to Andrea.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That's huge.
Well, a couple other things in recruiting. I'm looking forward to following guys like Jalen Curtis, who's a senior at Russellville High School. Michael Perry, the talented football and basketball player from Pottsville. He's got a big decision on his hands. He's going to have to decide whether he wants to play football or basketball. He's going to have to decide if he wants to take a Division I offer at schools like Arkansas State or whether he'll want to play basketball, most likely at the Division II level, unless he just goes crazy again this year in the 4A in basketball, where he was the 4A state MVP on the championship team. This year, if he continues what he's doing, he's going to have an even tougher decision on his hands. Brad, you've heard that the University of Arkansas was looking at him for football as well.
Yeah, they have been looking at him. Of course, they're evaluating, and of course, they've got 16 commitments, which we'll talk a little bit about that later. They've got 16 commitments, so the bandwagon for them is getting a lot smaller. But I've heard that there's been some high Division I that have been looking at him, but we'll see, if he decides to do that or if he gets an offer from that. Because, if you get an offer from the Razorbacks in football and you've got a chance to play at maybe a smaller school in basketball, in my opinion, you would go to the bigger opportunity. So we'll see if he gets that opportunity down the road.
Yeah, man, that's such a tough decision, and it's a long conversation of whether or not you would take that offer or not. Knowing what I know, and I'm 28 years old, I'm 10 years older than Michael Perry is, so it's a little bit different perspective for me, but I would almost take the offer to go play at a smaller school where I knew I would be able to make a bigger impact, or where I would be able to get on the field or court faster, but at the same time, the University of Arkansas comes calling, and that's something.
Well, I think most kids, I say, it's not any kid anymore like it used to be, but most kids still would like to see that Razorback on a helmet or be able to play basketball for the Razorbacks at some point or whatever. So, yeah, I'd say most kids, but, it's not the same as it used to be. You see a lot more gear and different teams and all that represented now.
Definitely. Well, I'm looking forward to following Michael Perry's recruitment. Also, Freddie Lee from Clarksville, he and Kendrick, I know from a conversation I had last week that they've got offers on the table to play together. Now, Freddie's got an offer to play at Oral Roberts with his brother Dedrick, so it's kind of going to come down to whether or not he wants to play with Dedrick or Freddie, or with Kendrick. So if I'm Freddie Lee, I'm thinking, man, this is a tough decision. Oral Roberts wants me. I don't know what kind of offer they're giving him, but I know that Arkansas Tech wants Freddie and Kendrick to both come play basketball for the Wonder Boys. If they're able to get them, that would be a coup, especially if they were able to get a Michael Perry. Think about Tucker Coliseum being full every night with 3 local athletes on the team, and that's not counting. Next year you'll still have a Kendall Pinckney, who will be a senior from Dardanelle. You'll have some local athletes that are around the area that are on the Arkansas Tech team. That would be a nice thing for Arkansas Tech to have those local guys playing together.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about that. That would be big.
Well, we'll go to break real quickly, and when we come back, we'll talk about some big news across the wire. We've got Jason Duffner winning the PGA Championship, LeBron running for another office possibly, and Manziel's disease.
Over 69 years of treating you like family, Peters Family Living's main goal is customer service. That is their promise to their customers. They offer in-house financing on furniture and appliances and a 30-day money-back guarantee. For a friendly, no-pressure atmosphere, visit Peters Family Living today at 201 North Arkansas Avenue, Russellville. Online at petersfamilyliving.com or call 479-968-2929. Set your sights on savings right now at Honda of Russellville. We're offering our best deals of the year on remaining 2012 Honda ATVs, plus special introductory offers on select new 2013 Honda ATVs, all with 0 down and easy monthly payments with approved credit. Be sure to check out the all-new Honda Foreman 4x4, now stronger, smarter, and harder working. How about a side-by-side? Well, Honda's got you covered with the Big Red. Honda's Big Red offers a proven Honda engine, automotive-style Honda automatic transmission with no belts to slip or break. Come in for a test ride today at Arkansas's legendary Honda dealer, Honda of Russellville.
Today, there are more than 20 brands of cars being sold in America. So to be noticed, Ford and Cogswell Motors have to go further than anyone thought we could. How does Ford stand out above the crowd? Not just with plug-in vehicles like the new 2013 Ford Fusion Energy that gets a projected 100 miles per gallon equivalent, but also with a line of gas vehicles equipped with the innovative EcoBoost engines combining power and efficiency, plus a full measure of technologically advanced features. We invite you to stop into Cogswell Motors today. We go further than anyone thought we could, so that you can go further too.
We don't talk a whole lot of golf around here, but we do need to say congratulations to Jason Duffner winning the PGA Championship. Welcome back into the Sports Blitz. Mark Freeman and Brad Caldwell. Almost said Weldon Braxton, but I didn't because you're white. Brad Caldwell in here with us in the RiverValleyLeader.com studios. Jason Duffner with a backpack full of Copenhagen wins the PGA. I'm not joking. He actually had a backpack full of Copenhagen that was following him around. And he won the PGA Championship. He held off Jim Furyk, and he was able to win the Wanamaker Trophy.
Well, that's a lot less than what John Daly had in his backpack
Seriously?
when he won the PGA in '91.
Wow. Well, looking at the story here, and obviously I'm not a huge golf fan, he won $1.45 million for winning this championship. He was 2 strokes ahead of Jim Furyk. Tiger Woods, by Saturday, he was done. Friday,
Right.
He had a decent day. I think he was 2 under. No, he was 1 under. He bogeyed 18. And then Friday he was 1 over. And then Saturday he just went in the crapper. So it was just all she wrote for Tiger. And as is most of the time with me in golf, if Tiger Woods isn't in there on the weekend in contention, I just don't care.
Well, you're not unlike most other people as well. But, the question that came to my mind is, in 2008, would we have ever thought that Tiger Woods would go 5 years? 5 years without winning a major. 5 years.
That's a lot.
Now, this dude, all he wanted to do was play majors, and now it's been 5 years since he's won one. And, that was number 14 5 years ago, and we thought it was a shoo-in.
Yeah.
But by now, he would have already broken Jack Nicklaus's record. And now the question is, will he get there? And I think the answer at this point is no.
Well, he's in those last 5 years, he's dealt with a lot of stuff, injuries, stuff he's brought on himself. The whole Elin thing, being chased with a golf club, running away in your Suburban, all that drama that surrounded Tiger Woods. But it's crazy because it used to be, like you said, where he didn't even want to play anything but majors, and then he would get in them and win them. Now he's winning every other tournament. He can't win a major. He won last week, and now he can't win this tournament. He can't even really compete. It's been kind of weird for Tiger. He's still the number one player in the world. He's going to make more money than anybody. He's going to have the endorsements. He's still a great player, but he's kind of been snake bitten in majors. It's just been weird to watch. I'm with you. I wonder if he'll ever win another major. If he wins another major, one major, I feel like it'll tip him back toward winning and beating Jack Nicklaus's record. But as of right now, it's just not looking good for him.
Well, you got to look too. He's not the same guy he was in 13 years ago. In 2000, 2001, 2002, I mean, he was unbelievable how great of a golfer. The greatest run probably ever for a golfer. But, age is catching up with Tiger a little bit.
What's he, 37?
He's 37.
He doesn't look it, really.
No. And you obviously you can play golf a lot longer than you can play these other sports. But, guys don't usually win majors after about the age of about 42, 43, So time is starting to run out on Tiger.
Yeah, well, and although he can play for a long time, you got to think about, not only is he going to be out there playing, but there are going to be players that are coming up behind him that are getting better. And they're going to be players. There are 16, 17-year-old kids winning tournaments now. And, it used to be Tiger Woods that would win those tournaments, and they're the wunderkind, and he's the next guy. And Rory McIlroy comes up, and there will be somebody in the next 10 years that's going to come up and start winning tournaments. And Tiger's got to, he may have to get lucky to win, 17 or 18. If he wins the next couple while he's still the best player in the world, he could, that could be all right. But then later on, when he gets to 45 years old plus, if he hasn't reached that goal, somebody else is going to have come up and is going to challenge him as far as being the best golfer in the world, and then he's going to have to win one. It'd kind of be sweet to watch him later on in his career have to try to fight against a golfer that's better than him to win.
Right.
Now, that'd be a neat storyline, but Tiger Woods, the storyline is quickly changing for him.
It definitely is, and I think it has changed. I think it's already there. So, I guess we'll see. I've heard a lot of people say, well, one major win will be the tipping point for him, and it very well could be because he is still a very good golfer because he's won more than anybody else has this year. It just hasn't been in the majors. Yeah,
that's definitely been the way it has been for him this year. He's basically winning everywhere else. Of course, he's played in a lot of the tournament he won last week. He's won 8 times, so he goes to this tournament and he just wins it because he knows the course, he knows everything, the ins and outs of it. So this year in the majors, he's 0 for. Next year he'll try again, and if he can win one, like I said, it may light the fire back in it. Something may click, but he's still the number one golfer in the world, and as of right now, it doesn't look like anybody else is going to compete with him for that.
He's still counting stacks of money.
Seriously, he's just making it rain. Anytime he wants to. All right, let's switch gears here. I basically teased before the break about Johnny Manziel disease. And if you followed the situation, I'm sure your head's spinning because there's so much stuff going on around Johnny Manziel. But to get you up to date, Brad will tell you a little bit about what's recently happened, and I'll give you a little bit of the backstory this summer. Well, basically since January, when Johnny Manziel, I guess it was the end of December, when he was given the Heisman Trophy, and he deserved it. He had an incredible season, the best season by a freshman, some could argue ever. He's a redshirt freshman, but I would have given the Heisman Trophy a couple years ago to Adrian Peterson, but that notwithstanding, he had one of the best seasons of all time, just an incredible season, deserved the Heisman Trophy, won it. Well, he's proven since then that 20-year-olds can't always handle that type of pressure, can't always handle that type of spotlight. Although Tim Tebow was 20 when he won the Heisman Trophy, and he handled it just fine.
Completely different upraising.
Definitely. Well, Johnny Manziel has put himself in the middle of drama. He's counting stacks of money at the casino. He's drinking at these parties, and he's 20 years old, and I'm not naive enough to think that no 20-year-old drinks, but I've got questions about who's serving this guy when he's 20 years old and you know exactly who he is and how old he is.
Right.
But he's been in the middle of junk all summer long. Now it comes out that he allegedly took $7,500 to sign some autographs, and these autographs were sold here and there by some scumbag dealer, and the NCAA is now allowing Texas A&M to investigate this, and then the NCAA will do what they do, which is enforce what Texas A&M comes up with. Long story short, though, Brad, he's been in crap all summer long, and now the question is, well, will he even play this year?
Yeah, he probably will. Number one, because the NCAA has lost all of its power. I mean, have you seen the stuff that has... I mean, I have never seen an organization look so bad. The whole jersey thing, when Jay Billis was just absolutely picking them apart on Twitter, they pulled their jersey sales by one guy getting on Twitter saying, this is ridiculous, and he starts making fun of them and all of this stuff. So they look horrible anyway. Then their enforcement of these rules that they... This stack of rules that is like this big... Nobody ever gets in trouble anymore, so why not cheat? Why not do what you want to do? Because nobody gets in trouble.
Yeah.
So he will play, and he will play soon, I'm sure.
This whole talk about the Manziel disease comes about by a guy from Florida State, James Winston. He's a number one highly recruited guy, number one quarterback in the country. Trent Dilfer, who does the Elite 11 quarterback camp, said he will be the number one pick in the NFL draft one day. He said he could literally be the best quarterback ever.
Wow.
High praise for a kid who's coming in as a freshman. But he says, I hope to not get the Manziel disease. I don't know if it's something that he feels like the fame has gone to Johnny Manziel's head. Obviously, it's not the money. It can't be about the money because Johnny Manziel's family is oil rich anyway. They don't need the money. He wanted to buy rims for his new Benz. That's why he took this $7,500 when he could have just went and said, Dad, you remember that time you bought me that Benz because I asked for it? Well, I'd like some new rims on it.
Right.
He's just got an issue inside his head where he thinks he deserves, and he does. He does deserve to make money off of his own name, and the fact that the NCAA is able to do it, and like Jay Billis pointed out, it is hypocritical, and the fact that they're selling jerseys, it only made Texas A&M $60,000 last year selling jerseys. So the NCAA pulls the selling of jerseys with numbers on them because they say it's hypocritical. Long story, even longer though, I feel like Johnny Manziel has let not the fame just necessarily go to his head, but he's sort of taken this whole I'll do whatever I want, I'm Johnny freaking football, and it has become a quote unquote disease. And James Winston, although he probably shouldn't have said it, it's sort of funny, but I hope that he is able to overcome all the hype.
Well, he said, if I get Manziel disease, I want every one of y'all to get your mics and just start hitting me on the head, he told reporters, adding that Manziel was a good person based on what he had heard from other athletes. He covered his tracks.
I just don't understand. What is Johnny Manziel thinking? Why is he doing this?
Man, he's living the life. We talked about this in show prep. When I heard that he has a personal assistant, I'm thinking, what college kid has a personal assistant? And the only one that I could come up with was Van Wilder.
Yes.
He wasn't real.
He had a personal assistant, though. He was in his 12th year of college.
Can you see Manziel driving around Texas A&M campus with the golf cart with the rims on it and everything?
No, he wouldn't be driving. Uncle Nate would be driving.
That's true.
So
that's true.
Which that would probably be pretty nice. Hey, Uncle Nate, go get me some Taco Bell.
Yeah.
I've had a few too many here at the frat party. I got my collar popped, and I'm just living the life.
Hey, listen, Uncle Nate might be the smartest kid in this whole thing because he sees the dollar signs.
Oh, definitely.
And he is trying his best. The only problem is that Manziel, even though he is a good college football player, he is likely a 4th or 5th round draft pick in the NFL because he's tiny. He will get killed.
Definitely, and he's talking himself into a hole where I've heard a lot of people are saying, we don't want anything to do with that guy.
Exactly.
And if like I've said more than once on this show, he is not going to be a great quarterback at the next level because as quick and elusive as he is right now, he's going to get broken in half in the NFL where defensive linemen are faster than he is. So he's not going to be able to do that, but he is talking himself down the draft board. One bad thing for Uncle Nate that he'll come to realize soon enough, the moment that Johnny Manziel says, I'm going to the NFL, those agents are going to line up, and Uncle Nate's going out the door. There's no questions asked.
A real agent.
Somebody who knows something might come along, and God forbid somebody that knows something tells Johnny Manziel to shut his mouth for 5 seconds. Long story, though, with Johnny Manziel, and it's been just an ongoing battle all summer long. Will he or won't he play? We both say he'll play. I feel like the Texas A&M doesn't have anything to lose. The NCAA doesn't have any teeth.
Yeah, well, if he gets suspended, that is a big if, he will be playing by what game?
Oh, the third game. There's no questions
Without
asked.
a doubt. September 14th, he will be playing in that game. Now, what Texas A&M might do is go to him and say, look, we know that you did this, but we know that nothing's really going to come of this. So what we're going to do is we're going to suspend you for the Rice game and then the other nobody game that they've got, but you're coming back for Alabama. And he's going to be all in on that.
And is he going to take a guilty stance, or is he going to take this is a
number
punishment
one,
for all the other stuff?
Number one,
stance?
they will never come out in the media that he is guilty. Okay, it will never happen. So no, he will not. There's no way that kid is ever going to admit guilt for anything. So no, he will not take the guilty stance. But if nothing else, he will be playing by September 14th, which means September 28th in Fayetteville.
He'll be ready. He'll be ready for Alabama, and then he'll be in Fayetteville for the University of Arkansas in that game with Texas A&M. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll look at one more thing on the wire, and then we'll get to our Honda of Russellville poll question: which former Arkansas Razorback will have the best season in the NFL this year?
RiverValleyLeader.com is the #1 local source for instant news in the River Valley, offering HD video and live streaming along with top-notch coverage of all the news and events around the area. The River Valley Leader is the only place to go for all the information you need. Check out the newest local business featured on the site, as well as police news and coverage from important meetings, along with the personal stories, all at one convenient click. Check out RiverValleyLeader.com.
Lions Den Golf Club is now offering a winter golf special to members and guests alike. Get your cart and greens fee covered for just $20. Take Highway 22 west to Bay Ridge or call 479-229-4162 for Lions Den Golf Club.
Over 69 years of treating you like family, Peters Family Living's main goal is customer service. That is their promise to their customers. They offer in-house financing on furniture and appliances and a 30-day money-back guarantee. For a friendly, no-pressure atmosphere, visit Peters Family Living today at 201 North Arkansas Avenue, Russellville, online at petersfamilyliving.com or call 479-968-2929.
Today, there are more than 20 brands of cars being sold in America. So to be noticed, Ford and Cogswell Motors have to go further than anyone thought we could. How does Ford stand out above the crowd? Not just with plug-in vehicles like the new 2013 Ford Fusion Energy that gets a projected 100 miles per gallon equivalent, but also with a line of gas vehicles equipped with the innovative EcoBoost engines combining power and efficiency, plus a full measure of technologically advanced features. We invite you to stop into Cogswell Motors today. We go further than anyone thought we could, so that you can go further too.
We're trying to debate whether or not on my best day I would hit 135 threes in 5 minutes like this guy on YouTube did.
The answer is no.
Rodney Clark could have probably done that. I've seen him hit 49 in a row from the corner before a game. 49 in a row. Yes,
Good
I counted
Lord.
it. I guess he was just shooting 50 shots because he missed the 50th one and he just quit. That was all he wrote for that spot. But yeah, I don't know. In my best day, I felt like I could hit every one of every shot, but that was a long time ago. So I'll be out the St. Mary's Fitness Center this afternoon about 4:30 if you want to come get some.
I got to give you credit. You can shoot the ball a little bit, but my gosh, 135 in 5 minutes, really?
Yeah, it's just standing there. He had a rebounder, though. He had somebody passing him the ball back out. He got in
can't-
a rhythm.
You can't have a life.
My arm would just be hurting.
You cannot have a life to do something like that. I mean, that's what Rodney Clark, he had no life. That
Just
was
went to
all
the
he
gym.
ever did. That's all he ever did. He just shot. He didn't develop any other parts of his game. He just shot.
He's a Mike Miller. Well, no, Mike Miller could actually play a little bit. I wonder if there's somebody else that we could think of. There's plenty of them.
No,
that
not in
couldn't
the
do
NBA
anything
because they
but
don't make
shoot.
it.
Well, Kyle Korver, that's all he can do. He doesn't step foot inside the three-point line.
But he is 6'4", too. That makes a difference.
Well, anyway, that has absolutely nothing to do with what we're going to talk about for the next couple minutes. It is basketball, and we did allude to the NBA. The NBA Players Association, the NBPA, is possibly going to get a big name running for the presidency of the Players Association. I don't know how, if this player runs, he doesn't win it, but the discussion has been whether or not LeBron James should run for the spot of president of the NBA Players Association. I don't think that there's anything bad that could necessarily come of it as long as they don't take him away from any obligations to, getting better, which there's not a whole lot of room for improvement for LeBron James. But if he's able to do it, I feel like this sort of thing is a Bill Russell-esque type, set him apart in the pantheon of NBA greats. That Kobe? No, Kobe should not
Kobe
do
would be
it.
better.
Yeah, Kobe would say. No, never mind. I'll be nice. Would LeBron James be a good Players Association president? I think it'd be a brilliant move on his part, PR-wise, because not only would he be the face on the court, but he'd be the face of the NBA off the court.
I think you look for any reason that you can to get LeBron James into the show.
Doesn't hurt.
It would be a big move.
I mean, think about his legacy go. I mean, that would be. I think it'd be cool.
And
Good
I'm
for
sure
him.
that's what he's thinking about. I mean, because that's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, he's definitely thinking in that direction. I don't
Well,
really know
and
what
who
else
better,
to say about it.
I'm sure he's got somebody else in his ear saying, "Look, who better to talk about the needs of the NBA player than the best NBA player?
Right.
The man to represent everybody. It'd just be really cool to see everybody fall in line below the best."
Well, I heard Colin Cowherd on the way down here, and he said LeBron said he's basically taken a position that the NBAPA has lost some strength over the years, and he said, "How have you lost any strength? You're 1/5 as popular as the NFL. You're the highest paid athletes on the planet. You don't have to play outside in the heat. You get to play with your friends." All of this stuff. How is it that they've lost strength? And of course, he just kind of went down the line there. But I mean, I guess it's just another feather in the cap.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it seems like LeBron's not necessarily just doing it for the reasons that we say he probably is, and that's just to, like you say, get another feather in his cap. It seems like he's really wanting to do something for his fellow player, and maybe he's trying to garner some favor with some players. Maybe he's just trying to work on issues that he sees inside the game. But like you said, when there are guys like Adam Morrison who can make $30, $40, $50 million to do nothing, I think they're doing all right.
Yeah.
What's the minimum salary in the NBA? It's a lot.
It's 500,000.
And in the NFL, it's something like 300,000, is it not?
Yeah.
It's less in the NFL because there's more players.
I
But
can Google it right
I
now.
know that the NBA's minimum salary, those guys aren't hurting. Now, you got guys like Antoine Walker, who goes broke after his career, or Latrell Sprewell, who can't feed his family with a 3-year, $21 million deal. But those guys are morons. Those guys are what we like to call idiots. So I think the NBA player as a whole is doing all right. Maybe LeBron sees some slights in the way the Players Association has been treated, or the way the Players Association has been doing business. But I can kind of give him a little bit of props and credit for trying to step out there and be the man. I just think it's cool. It shows his leadership ability, something that we didn't know he had, huh?
I got nothing else to say.
Exactly. He's speechless because he loves LeBron James so much. He
Oh,
would cry
my
if he had to talk
gosh.
anymore. All right, let's look at today's Honda of Russellville poll question. You can give us a call if you want to answer it, or if you want to have your voice heard. 968-NEWS is the phone number, or you can go to facebook.com/sportsblitz. Today's Honda of Russellville poll question: which former Razorback in the NFL will have the best season? Catherine Jackson Wilburn says Nile Davis. He almost got the starting job by default this morning, as Jamal Charles had a little bit of an injury. Was carted off the field with a sprained foot or strained foot. They thought it was broken, so in his defense, he couldn't walk.
Well, one disagreement that I would have right off the bat with that is Andy Reid does not like to run the football. So,
Well, McCoy had a pretty good year a couple years ago, 20 touchdowns.
but he also caught a lot
Yep.
of passes out of the backfield.
And if Nile Davis could learn how to catch the ball, I've heard he's had some trouble with that.
Catching
he
the
could
ball and
be
fumbling.
effective. He's going to have a chance to get in on the return game. That's a good possibility of an
and he
answer.
did. He had a good return.
70-yard return the
Yep.
other day. So Nile Davis is a good answer. There's some other ones that I feel like would come to the forefront in people's minds a little quicker. Yours probably is that guy.
Darren McFadden. Yeah, and we talked about this a little bit. He's got a contract situation coming up, and you know how it is with athletes. They've got the contract year, so they're going to do everything that they can to get that money. Now, what the Raiders did try to do was extend him over the offseason, and he basically said, no, I'm not going to do that. We're going for broke here. We're going for the max salary. We're going for everything that we can get. And, he's taken a gamble because he's had a injury-plagued career, really, when it comes down to it. So we'll see what happens with that, because he could hit the jackpot here and he could get a huge salary, or he could get hurt. He's still probably going to get some salary somewhere because he's still a very good NFL running back. It just may not be with the Raiders.
And that may be part of this plan. He may say, you know what, I'm tired of playing for the Raiders. But I feel like that Darren McFadden's going the Joe Flacco route. He's trying to say, I'm going to bet on me. I'm going to say that this year I'm going to have 1,500-plus yards, and rather than paying me for what I've done so far and what you think I can do, I'm going to prove what I can do, and then you're going to have to pay me for what I do this year. Darren McFadden, like you said, is betting on himself, and for me, it's almost a no-lose unless he gets hurt. If he gets hurt and it's a really bad injury, he's going to be out a lot of money. Yeah. But if he stays healthy, and even if he doesn't have the greatest of seasons with the Raiders, he's going to get some money to go play elsewhere, and he's most likely going to be able to pick where he goes, which to get out of Oakland would be a blessing in and of itself. And if not, if he has a great season, the bidding war begins.
And what are the chances that Jerry Jones does not get in that bidding war? I mean,
he's a Razorback. He's getting in the game.
Yeah, he's getting in the game for sure. He's going after Darren McFadden. That's who I look for Darren McFadden to be playing for next year.
Well, I know he would be in the discussion. It remains to be seen if somebody gets hurt or if somebody has a good running back that goes out and they can think, okay, well, we can get Darren McFadden to come along. You've seen that model has been successful with the Giants and with some others where they've got two running backs to carry the load. And maybe Darren McFadden can be the guy somewhere. Maybe he can be a second fiddle, or maybe he can have a second fiddle to him. I'd like to see Darren McFadden have a long and healthy career in the NFL. So far, it's been painful to watch because when he's been healthy, he's been very good. But I remember watching the first game for the Raiders last year, and he came out and they gave it to him something like 25 times and threw it to him 10 times in one game. And it was just like, you guys are trying to run him into the ground.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We'll see what happens, though. It's going to be a very, very interesting season for him because the Raiders don't look very good right now. Things don't look good for Tyler Wilson with the Raiders, that's for sure.
Exactly.
And if you don't look good with the Raiders at quarterback, then who do you look good with? That's going to be a big question for him. Yeah. Tyler Wilson is definitely not the guy that's going to be the answer to this poll question, no doubt about it. But
he won't be anybody's answer, but if he gets on the field, he could have a good season. You don't know. I mean,
man,
I've heard nothing but bad things about Tyler Wilson's development as a quarterback.
What happened from OTAs where he was basically being touted as a possible starter to now he's behind Matt McGloin.
I'm telling you, man, this year has been, or this off season, and really just from training camp on, has been tough on Tyler Wilson.
You know what he needs to do? He needs to put his steel-toed boot on and go to Western Kentucky and kick Bobby Petrino right in the you-know-where.
Yeah, seriously. Bobby Petrino, he's sort of ruined him, but at the same time, he's put him in the situation that he's in right now as far as being in the NFL. But I've heard some bad things about the development of Tyler Wilson. I don't know for sure if it's true or not, but they've said that he's had trouble picking up the playbook and making good decisions. And if he's going to have trouble with that, he's going to have trouble making it in the NFL. But like you said, you watch Matt Flynn come in and do a little bit for Oakland, and then Terrell Pryor came in, and he was all right. He did throw an interception there in the end zone. And then Matt McGloin came in as the third quarterback. When I saw Matt McGloin was in at third quarterback and Tyler Wilson wasn't, I thought this is trouble. But then Matt McGloin leads a drive and throws a nice touchdown pass, so I was even more worried. And then the storm came through, knocked out my satellite, but I didn't have the time, so I didn't get to watch Tyler Wilson play. But he was 3 of 6, didn't really set the world on fire at the end there for Oakland. So I'm worried that he's not even going to make the team, and that would be a tough blow. I feel like Terrell Pryor should go bye-bye, but you said he looked pretty decent. So
yeah, he looked good. You've got an answer to the poll question.
My poll question answer though is a little different. You've got guys like Darren McFadden, you've got guys like Niall Davis, but my answer is a guy I've heard nothing but great things about this summer, and he's for the Minnesota Vikings. It's Jarius Wright. I feel like he's going to start for the Minnesota Vikings. He's going to take that Percy Harvin role where he's in the slot and he's making plays. I've heard that he's just been really tearing it up in the offseason so far. And Jarius Wright is my answer to the poll question. I feel like he's going to have a great season this year, and he's going to make a difference for the Minnesota Vikings. They're going to have Greg Jennings on one side and Adrian Peterson in the backfield, so there's not going to be a whole heck of a lot of attention on Jarius Wright. He's going to eat up some yards underneath. He's got that speed to go deep as well. I feel like Jarius Wright's going to have a breakout season here in his second year.
Very well could. My only question would be, can Christian Ponder get him the basketball, the football?
Well, he might be able to get him the basketball. If Christian Ponder can't get him the ball with Adrian Peterson behind him and Greg Jennings out on one side, he doesn't deserve to have a job. And don't they have that Rudolph tight end from Notre Dame? Mm-hmm. So, they've got some weapons.
They do.
Some weapons, not like the greatest in the world, but Christian Ponder, from all accounts, is a really smart guy. You'd think he'd figure it out.
He's got a hot wife.
He does have Samantha Ponder. She's up there. All right, we're going to take a break before my wife gets here to kill me, and we'll talk about some Arkansas Razorbacks. We know you've been waiting for our Hog Talk segment. We have smoothly segued from hogs in the NFL to hogs in the college football season. We've got some recruiting updates. Arkansas football picked up a couple recruits, and basketball got a top 150 recruit as well.
Over 69 years of treating you like family, Peters Family Living's main goal is customer service. That is their promise to their customers. They offer in-house financing on furniture and appliances and a 30-day money-back guarantee. For a friendly, no-pressure atmosphere, visit Peters Family Living today at 201 North Arkansas Avenue, Russellville. Online at petersfamilyliving.com or call 479-968-2929. Set your sights on savings right now at Honda of Russellville. We're offering our best deals of the year on remaining 2012 Honda ATVs, plus special introductory offers on select new 2013 Honda ATVs, all with zero down and easy monthly payments with approved credit. Be sure to check out the all-new Honda Foreman 4x4, now stronger, smarter, and harder working. How about a side-by-side? Well, Honda's got you covered with the Big Red. Honda's Big Red offers a proven Honda engine, automotive-style Honda automatic transmission with no belts to slip or break. Come in for a test ride today at Arkansas's legendary Honda dealer, Honda of Russellville.
Lions Den Golf Club is now offering a winter golf special to members and guests alike. Get your cart and greens feet covered for just $20. Take Highway 22 west to Bay Ridge or call 479-229-4162 for Lions Den Golf Club.
Drill Master Matty over here telling us to shut up in the break. We're back here on the Sports Blitz. Mark Freeman, Matty Lassiter, Brad Caldwell inside the River Valley Leader.com studios. Time to look at Hog Talk. We've got more than a little bit to talk about. Not a whole heck of a lot of time to do it, but Brad, the Hogs played a nice little situational scrimmage on Saturday, and we heard some good things coming out of Coach Brett Bielema and the scrimmage. Although practices have been closed, we got our first look at the guys out there on the field Saturday.
Yes, and, my biggest question has been quarterback play. And Brandon Allen came out, went 16 for 17, threw for just over 200 yards. And, that's a good thing. Now, my question now is our defense that bad that he can complete 16 of 17 passes? Because that's very hard to do in 7-on-7.
Yeah.
Of course, you've got a situational scrimmage where basically if a defensive lineman breaks through, plays dead, it's over. You can't sack him, you can't hurt him, that sort of thing, which is a smart thing to do. Houston Nutt, who hurt, just will not go there. Anyway, but Brandon Allen looked good, but again, now the question is the defense that bad? Brett Bielema basically had comments that just said, I wasn't real happy with the defense and the way they looked. But again, the deck is stacked against the defense.
Exactly. That's what you're alluding to there is sort of, it's tough on a defense. If you're a defensive back and your line can't get a sack, but you have to cover this guy all day long, chances are they're going to get some completions. And knowing the way this offense has been in the past, and I know this is a completely different offense, and it's not going to look like Wisconsin's did. I didn't get to watch the scrimmage, so I know that Brett Bielema won't put his quarterback in a real bad position. He'll put him in situations where he can make successful and high percentage throws.
Now, one thing that people need to look at about this Arkansas offense this year is Tennessee's last year, because Jim Chaney was the offensive coordinator there last year, and they keep using this big B word, and it's something that Arkansas hasn't had, and maybe ever. I mean, and the B word is balance. throwing and running. And, for 10 years with Houston Nutt, it was just handoff, 65-35, if that. And then with Petrino, it was 65-35 the other way. Although the best time that Petrino ever had at Arkansas was the end of that 2010 season when Arkansas could run or pass. And that was when his offense was at its best, no doubt about it. But the offensive line was at its best at that time too. But they keep using that balance word, and I would like to see that. And I think for people who think that Arkansas is just going to come out and hand the ball off, I think we've seen 2 scrimmages now, and both scrimmages they've thrown the ball with a lot of success, and they've thrown the ball through the air for a lot of yardage for the most part, or at least more than what people were thinking. I don't think this is going to be Houston Nutt 2.0.
No, and that was one thing I was worried about coming in. I remember when Weldon said that Brett Bielema was on the radar in his mind of guys. I said, oh, no. And we've got recording of where we were kind of touting ourselves because Weldon was the first person that I heard in the country say that Brett Bielema was on the radar. And I said, oh, God, because his style of play at Wisconsin was not something that I was looking forward to watching. But knowing the staff that he's got going here, coming here now with Chaney and Pittman and those guys from Tennessee, and then all the staff that he's put together has just been an incredible staff. We'll talk about recruiting here in just a second, but the balance, like you said, it's exciting. We've heard some good things from the scrimmage. You heard about Brandon Allen. You heard about guys like Alex Collins and how well he did. He had a touchdown in the scrimmage. I'm looking forward to seeing, is it Alex Collins toward the end of the season and Jonathan Williams at the beginning? Is there going to be a balance? Is there going to be another 1,000-yard rusher? I feel like you've got almost a guarantee that you're going to see one of these guys get to 1,000.
There's no doubt. You probably will see both of them get to 1,000. Even with Monty Ball at Wisconsin, they had other backs that were pushing. Monty Ball was getting 2,000, and they had other backs that were pushing 1,000. So, there's no doubt. We're looking at a time again where the running back is featured. And Arkansas 2 consecutive years had Darren McFadden and Felix Jones over 1,000.
Yep.
So I wouldn't be shocked at some point, especially with 2 quality backs such as Williams and Collins, that they can split carries the way that they can, and they both get 1,000.
That would be nice. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing some things from the defense as well. Like we said, they had the deck stacked against them in the scrimmage, and they sort of have had that happen to them in the past, and that's sort of the way it is when you can't hit anybody and you don't want to get anybody hurt. But I've heard good things about guys like Rohan Gaines. I've heard good things about Eric Bennett. I heard he just looks like a brick house.
Yes.
And I'm looking forward to seeing some of the cornerback play improve. If Arkansas can ever find a cornerback who will find the ball in the air, I will shout for joy. I'm not joking. And I feel like it'll happen eventually.
You don't like this?
Honestly, I don't even care if when they're running, they turn around and lose the receiver and he scores a touchdown. Just as long as they know the ball is coming, that there is a ball in play, and that they're not just running, facing a guy, and then watch him catch it and run the end zone.
And that's been a problem, not just with Petrino, but it was with a problem with Houston Nutt as well. I mean, that is actually something that did not get fixed with Petrino here. So I'm with you on that for sure.
Looking forward to it. I know the defensive line is going to be good. I heard some interesting stuff out of the scrimmage that some of the linebackers that we were expecting Arkansas to feature this year, guys like Otha Peters and A.J. Turner, he's having some wrist issues.
A.J. Turner's
he
got
may
a red
redshirt. That's one thing Brett Bielema said. Of course, I don't know if he were going to start. If he were pushing for a starting job, I feel like he would probably play. But now that he's in the back end of the 2 deep, and they've got 6 guys they feel like can play before A.J. Turner, they probably feel a little more safe redshirting him, which they probably should have done last year. But he's dealing with an injury. Otha Peters, who I hoped was going to start, maybe now he's going to work in the 2 deep, but it doesn't look like he's going to start. It's Jarrett Lake, and I'm drawing blanks on the other 2.
Braylon Mitchell's one of them, and Austin Jones.
Austin Jones was the other one. So the linebackers are, we'll look forward to seeing how well they've developed. The cornerbacks, I don't know who's going to start. Is it Tevin Mitchell and Will Hines? I've heard Hines is behind somebody else on the depth chart. We've got
Carol
Washington, who's coming in from the JUCO ranks. It's going to be very interesting to see how the defense stacks up.
It will come around. I think the defense will come around. You will see Arkansas look like a serviceable SEC defense this year. Chris Ash is the best coordinator that Arkansas's had in a long time, and also he's able to do his job. Petrino did not let Willie Robinson do his job at all. And then last year was just a charade of a coaching staff. They stole money, is what
They
they
really did. Well, Arkansas did, as we talk about defense and as we talk about recruiting. They picked up some big recruits this weekend. One was I guess it was late in the week that they picked up the first one. Jared Cornelius, a wide receiver out of Shreveport Evangel Christian there in Louisiana, and Armand Watts, who's a defensive end, defensive tackle combo there on the defensive line. They've done some interesting things, Brad. They've got 5 recruits out of the state of Louisiana. That's a statement to me.
5 out of Louisiana, 3 out of Arkansas. Now, that's huge right there. Number one, when you look at that, I mean, I don't think Arkansas has ever done that. And when you look at the 3 players from Arkansas, they've got 2 from Texas, 2 from Missouri, 2 from Georgia, and 1 from Pennsylvania, and 1 from California. I mean, they're going out everywhere. Arkansas has never been able to do that kind of recruiting. But when you have guys that are relevant to the kids like we have right now on staff, I mean, Arkansas is in the best place in recruiting that they've ever been as far as football goes. And I'm excited to see what Arkansas can do going forward and seeing a little bit more success, because really when you look at this, Arkansas is recruiting off a 4-8 season last year.
Yep.
And although, yes, we do have a relevant coaching staff, we still went 4-8 last year. And when Arkansas starts having some more success, you're going to start seeing more players come to the University of Arkansas.
Definitely. A couple other Razorback basketball or football things before we get to basketball to close out. Thought it was interesting that Arkansas, Darren Ravel of ESPN.com, wrote a story and said that Arkansas was number 10 in the country. He gave out the top 10, Texas number 1. In merchandise sales, royalties for the 2012-2013 year, Arkansas number 10 in the country. That says a lot about the Woo Pig Nation, because we're in a really small state. For Arkansas to be even mentioned in the same breath as the Floridas and the Texas and Notre Dame's, who's national,
right.
USC's of the world, that's a big deal.
2 words, Jeff Long.
He's done it.
The guy, when he came in here, has just changed the whole thing. You know, Arkansas ran it kind of like a backwoods type of deal. You know, nothing against Frank Broyles. He did what he knew how to do. Jeff Long was a new age athletic director. He understands branding. And Arkansas, if you look at the branding from where they're at now versus where they were at 5 years ago, it is a completely different universe from what they were. And that's why Arkansas is where they're at right now.
It's a pretty big deal when you think about the population of the state and the Razorback fans that are around the world. He's doing a great job at the University of Arkansas. We've said for a long time Jeff Long deserves everything he gets from the University of Arkansas. He's put them on the map. And then finally, in football news, Mikael McKay, he was granted his scholarship release, and Brett Bielema wouldn't speak to where he was going, but now he has. Cincinnati is his destination. He's going to go play for Tommy Tuberville.
Closer to home.
Yeah.
You know, he said he wanted to go to an offense that was a little more suitable to him.
And then he didn't.
Exactly. So I think it was a homesick thing more than anything else. I don't know what the deal was there. I mean, he caught 21 balls last year.
He was the leading returning receiver, which wasn't saying much, but
I guess there was just some sort of friction there between he and Bielema. He just wasn't.
He didn't expect to be able to catch the ball. He wanted to be a wide receiver, not a outside tackle like he thought he was going to be, which is sort of what happened in the Houston Nut Day. Somebody got in his ear and said, dude, you don't want to be a part of this. So,
yeah.
Finally, before we get out of here today, Nick Babb, 6'4" shooting guard, top 150 in the country, commits to play Razorback basketball. That's a good get for the Hogs, who are doing very well on the hardwood as far as recruiting.
Well, they're trending up, no doubt about it. I mean, you look at the 3 guys that Arkansas's got. They've all been pretty much need guys. I look for this team to be better in the fall than they were last year. I like the mix. I like that. I think Arkansas's gotten some of the attitude problems out of the locker room as well. I think that will help in the long run. I look for progression from what they have, but these next class that's coming in, I think is going to be the first one that kind of gets Arkansas basketball where we all want it to be.
Yeah, this recruiting, man, they're going after needs. They're getting guys. This last class was going after big men. This next class has been a little bit more after the swing guys and guys who can hit a shot. If you can just get a guy who can hit a shot, I don't care if you can rebound it. Every time, if you can't throw the ball in the friggin' ocean, you've got to get a guy who can hit a shot.
And a true point guard.
And a true point guard.
I mean, Anton Beard, how long has it been since Arkansas had a true point guard? Courtney Fortson, he played one for about a half a year, and then he started shooting every time.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's been a long time since Arkansas had one of those. So good gets by Mike Anderson.
Definitely. So we're looking forward to a good basketball season as well. Football is upon us, though, so we'll try to continue previewing the Razorback football season. If you've got anything you want to know about, feel free to call us, 968 News, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 11 to noon. We're here with the Sports Blitz. You can give us a call, 968-6397, or email mark@rivervalleyleader.com. That's all the time we have for you today. Appreciate Brad being in studio with us, but for Brad Caldwell and Maddie Lassiter, I'm Mark Freeman saying so long. We'll see you at 11 o'clock on Wednesday.